Welcome to Triangle BNI. Today's show is brought to you by Simply Done Concierge. There's one thing we can't get back, folks, and that is time. We can get a lot of other things back, but not time. Simply Done Concierge helps you do things while you're doing other things. We can come fold laundry, we can meal prep, we can pack, we can unpack, we can run errands for you. Things like that in a busy day come in handy. So if you'll go to simplydoneconcierge.com, tell us how we can help you, and we'll be out there in no time. Hi, everybody. My name is Mike Manning. Each week on Triangle BNI, we bring you a local small business success story. If you are not familiar with BNI, it is Business Networking International, the world's largest networking organization. Right here in the Triangle, our little slice of heaven here is Raleigh, Durham, and Chapel Hill, and all the surrounding towns. And each week, about 31 chapters, around 535, 540 members get together. And our goal is to help each other grow our business. And our local small business success story today is Tommy Kelaher with State Farm Insurance. Tommy is in RDO2 Carry Connections Group, meets Monday mornings at 8:30 at Hope Community Church on Buck Jones Road. Tommy is also part of the membership committee. Tommy is on location in the mountains where there's been some snow. Good morning, Tommy. How are you?
Hey, good morning, Mike. I'm doing well. Glad to be here. Thank you for the invitation.
Oh, appreciate you going on remote so we can get a story about how much snow you got. You guys got a little bit of snow, though, you're saying, huh?
Yeah, we got a fair amount of snow up here. The rail to my left, you may not be able to see or behind me, but there's maybe 4 or 5 inches on the rail, something like that. But the sun's out and it's beautiful, and it's probably mid 30s, which is warm enough to be outside, especially if you have the sun. So
Yeah. Did
can't
the
beat it.
good. Yep. Good.
No,
Did the kids have fun in the snow?
yeah, we did all the usual stuff, sledding, tubing, all that kind of thing, and it went very well. Everybody had a great time. We ate more food than an army of people should eat, but that's kind of part of the fun, I suppose. So
That's one of the boxes you need to check on a good vacation, right? Right.
absolutely.
Each week when you get up, so if for folks that are not familiar with BNI, it is seat specific. So there
Hmm.
are all kinds of insurance seats, and Tommy holds the life insurance seat. Even though he owns his own State Farm agency, he can help you out on pretty much anything. But within the BNI world, he holds the life insurance seat. And you talk on a regular basis of why we don't talk about life insurance is because it scares the daylights out of us because it means
Yeah,
something bad either has happened or is about to happen.
that could be true. That could be true. And I think a lot of people, it's not about knowing all of the answers. It's just about asking good questions to get down to what the right thing for your family is. When you talk about life insurance, nobody likes it because you think it's about dying, but we can make it about not dying. We got lots of people that use life insurance for other purposes, that it's a part of their retirement plan, or it's a part of something that they're doing to put kids through college, those types of things. So there's a lot of different uses, and you don't have to just think of life insurance as if somebody dies, although that's one of the things that it obviously does the best. So, but there are a lot of ways to look at that, and we try to encourage people to talk about it in totality and hear the whole conversation, find their place in that conversation, what fits for them. You know.
And if I connect all the consistent dots you have with regard to life insurance, it's just shows it's a number of ways you can help different parts of your life. We know if you're, if you're about to pass, you want
Hmm.
to protect your family, whether you have
Yeah,
10,000 bucks or 2 million bucks. You want to make sure
yeah.
they're taken care of. But talk a little bit more about the things we can do, like college or investments, things like that, through a life insurance plan.
Yeah, so there are a lot of good examples of things that you can do, but I'll give you a classic one that happened very recently. Had somebody approach me and they said, we have a business obligation that matures in 25 years. We'd like the security of life insurance, but we don't plan on dying in 25 years. At the end of 25 years, can you build something that we pull the cash out of, meet our business obligation? And if we want to keep the policy, we'll keep it. If we want to walk away from it, we can walk away from it. We got options either way. And so that's how we built it. We built it so that they can choose to use it however they want. The cash accumulates over the 25 years. So at any point during that 25 years that they want to use it, they can. Of course, if they have anything unexpected, like let's say that they came down being terminally ill, didn't anticipate that, we can access some of that money early as well, with certain diagnoses. So there's a lot of flexibility. I think that's the one thing that people probably don't know about life insurance is
Mm.
all the different ways that you can twist and turn it. And for as arduous a topic as it can be for a couple or a family to tackle, it's really fun. There's a lot of different options. There are a lot of ways to find a plan that's not only suitable, but get something done for you. And that's kind of the whole idea. We try to look at it and say, what would benefit these folks the most? Do they need a low price? Do they need it to have value in the future? Do they need a high amount of coverage because they have a lot of obligations? We try and find out what does the person need and recommend something that suits that. Does
And
that make some sense?
it does, and it's there for when you need it.
Yes,
Because
it certainly is.
the business plan for 25 years, the first 8 years, they may not need it, so no need to access it or do anything with it, just sits there and grows. But
Yeah.
that's again, BNI teaches me a lot of things, and as I learn about different industries, as I got to learn more about insurance, it's like,
Hmm.
I didn't even know you could do that with life insurance because all we ever knew growing
Yeah.
up was you bought life insurance, so when you die and that's all it's used for is it's passed on to
Right.
family, and not the case these days. So I'm sure you
Yeah.
enjoy based on your we'll get some of your previous jobs, but based on the different types of jobs you've had, it's all relationship, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, really, Mike, in my life, all I'm really looking for is to be in service with somebody, and if I can serve and provide solutions and help, that's what I want. I kind of decided that I like selling knowledge and advice and expertise more than I like selling products. So I made a switch some years ago that I would do that, and that makes me happy. And doesn't mean it's right for everybody, but it's a great fit for me, and I've really enjoyed making that uh, aha moment for myself where I figured out what drove me professionally, and it's been good ever since. I've been happier.
Yeah, because you and I, if you weren't in the insurance world, you and I could go visit the same insurance agent, and we would probably need two different things just based on where we are in life.
That's right. I think a lot of people overlook what their obligations and responsibilities are from a hey, what if something happens standpoint. If I've got somebody that rolls into our office and says, I got 4 or 5 vehicles, 2 kids, and I own 3 rental properties. There's probably a lot of mortgages and debts behind that nobody's paying attention to. We would love to kind of flush that out, find out how much obligation they have out there, and what's a good strategy to meet the obligation. What can we do that would be best?
Yeah, because old school, I would walk in and say, "What plan do you have for me?" And you would go, "Here, sign this."
Right, right.
And now
Yeah,
it's like, "Yeah, hey, Tommy, here's what I have going on. What's the best next step for me?"
yeah. And that's how we like to handle it. We also like to talk a little bit about the future and the blue
Mm,
sky out in front of you as well. Because if you're a young family that plans to have kids, that's something we need to know about now when we set it up, not 5 years from now after it's been enforced for a while. These things are most affordable when we're young and healthy. So if we forego our opportunity to purchase that affordability, it may not be there in the future when you want it. So it's really important that we go through the future and what your plans are, as well as where you are today, because we need to know both of those things. Likewise, I talk to a lot of folks. Mike, you talk about a little bit of the difference between maybe where I am in life and where you are in life, but a lot of folks in your group are concerned about aging parents.
yep,
They come forward and say, what if I have to take care of mom? What if mom comes live with me?
yep.
What does that look like? If we have enough time, we can plan for that in advance and get some benefit out of it.
Yeah, it's amazing again, what I've learned from BNI is I've got to know people in different seats. I also would imagine you have one of those jobs and industries where you're at an event or a party. Somebody goes, Tommy, come here. I got a quick insurance question for you. I'm sure you get that a lot, right?
Yeah, yeah. My my wife backed into a tree. Is that okay? Yeah, well, maybe.
How mad should I be, right?
Yeah. Well, and like you say, I mean, I belong to our BNI group. This is a BNI podcast, right? I belong to our BNI group for life insurance for disability products. That's the thing that I'm doing most. But it's hard for us to hide that State Farm offers auto and home insurance. They do a really good job putting
Yep.
that on TV every day.
Yep.
So it's hard to hide that. But in our group, I try to stay in my lane and focus on the part that I'm there to focus on, and let those other guys, do their parts as well. But yeah, there's a lot of great insurance questions at parties, and a lot of them start off with, "Don't tell anybody I asked you this, but can I bug you for a minute?"
Asking for a friend, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah, very
Yeah.
hypothetical. Everybody's hypothetical all of a sudden.
Oh,
So
yeah, yeah, like you can't figure that out by the 3rd word.
right,
Do you have
it's
do you have a cutout Jake from State Farm you take to events so people can get their picture with him?
we have a miniature one, and
Yep.
he's on the front desk. He's about 8 inches tall. And yeah, we get a lot of comments about Jake. And we went to the national convention this year, 100th anniversary for the company and everything. They had Jake there. He was on stage. You could wait in line to get your picture taken with him, which was like a 2-hour wait.
Oh, yeah.
So we would like to, but we forego. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
now the first Jake was good, I enjoyed that campaign, but this guy is completely different. He's real
yes,
engaging on camera, and those are funny commercials.
yeah, yeah. The first Jake was actually a State Farm employee, and they
Oh,
they found him because he was employed with us. And then as the character took off, they decided what they really needed was a full time actor
yep,
that could be at different engagements and that could be on scene and knew how to act, not just kind of be funny in the commercials.
yeah,
So they found themselves a spokesperson versus a local stand-in,
yeah.
and it seems to have gone very well.
Oh, yeah, they're funny. I like the, one with, Andy Reid on the plane when he's
Yeah.
drawing mustaches on everybody. Reid was pretty good in that one.
It looks back at him. I'll find him.
Yeah,
I'm going
I
to get
know.
to the bottom of this. Yeah.
Do you guys get noticed when they're rolling out a new set of commercials or anything like that?
Yeah, sort of. There's like an agency hub, like a main web page that we all cycle through pretty much on a daily basis. And a lot of times they'll put things up there if there's a new commercial. Likewise, when we're all together in a big corporate setting, they like to test that stuff on us. So sometimes we get to see it before it goes public.
Oh, cool.
Um, yeah, but I mean, in my opinion, anyway, I think the company does a really nice job picking out funny commercials and being and comical. So I enjoy what they do. I hope they keep doing it. I'm glad they don't rely on me to do that part because I don't think that's my expertise. But I'm glad that they do it very well for us.
You're in one of those industries where not only are you competing against your true competitors, but
Hmm.
how many State Farm offices are there in the Triangle?
Oh, the Triangle, that'd
Yeah,
be tough. So in my region, which is kind of the Raleigh Durham region, I think there's about 45 of us,
yeah,
and there are more than that because everybody's not in my region. But yeah, probably 60 or 70 of us. The idea with it is that we're supposed to be community based and relationship based. The idea is not to be at the office all the time, but to use the office as a point to serve folks who come in and also folks that are outside. So we do a lot of going out to cook for a hot dog day, or we
yep,
barbecue for a customer, or we go out and just serve, in a volunteer standpoint, that kind of thing. So there's a lot of different ways to use the office as a jumping off point for other things. And lately, we've even been hosting little gatherings at our office. People come together, maybe 15, 20 at a time, that are all in an industry that complement each other, and we have them come in and hang out for a little while.
cool.
If they get something from each other, that's good. If their impression is just that we cared about them enough to include them, that's also good. If they get no benefit, but we all enjoyed hanging out together and having some snacks, we're good with that too. We love snacks.
Yeah,
So
I find it interesting in some worlds. We see this in the financial world all the time with some of the larger
mhm.
companies. Not only are you competing against your true competitors nationally, but you're competing against your own company in the triangle.
Yeah, yeah. But I'll tell you this, and this is a neat thing to be able to say on camera, and I'm glad I can say it with a clean conscience. When I was looking at State Farm and really considering coming here, I went to 2 different states and visited 12 or 14 different agents in their offices, in their own environments. I wanted to see what that felt like. I wanted to see, how did the people out front act, and how did the agents act, and what kind of questions did they have for me, and how would they answer my questions? And so I really got to know them and took many days on the road to figure that out. And what I found was that culturally, we're all pretty similar. The company has done a good job identifying folks who have similar drive and similar I don't know, selflessness, I
Mhm.
guess, that good neighbor thing, that's pretty real. When we go to corporate events, they have opportunities for us to stuff boxes for soldiers and for us to give diapers to babies or whatever it is that they're working on. And I get calls all the time about going out in the community for fire departments or police officers or whatever it is, whoever we're trying to work with to do something good. That's
And
been a real pleasure. I didn't see that coming when I became an agent. I liked what I saw from the outside, but since I've been here, I've really been impressed with how well the company aligns its values with its agencies. It's been
well,
cool.
yep, and I always like to do some research and figure out how we all got to where we are, and not only did
Yeah,
you change jobs, companies, and industries, but you changed states. You moved here not as well, excuse me, you moved from South Carolina where you were not an insurance agent or with State
yeah,
Farm. So
yeah.
how did all this come about?
I like to say that my only real professional talent is change. I'm very good at change. I can start over really well. I'm a 0 to 60 guy. I've never really been a marathon guy.
Yep.
And so this is a cool challenge for me because State Farm's a marathon career, right? I mean, I'm here long term. What you build today matters tomorrow. So there's no backing out. This is my home now. I'm in Raleigh. I'm a State Farm agent. This is me. Um, but yeah, I got good at change. If you look though, everything that I've ever done uh, starts through that hospitality role, that
Mm.
customer service role. My undergraduate was hospitality, and it's stuck with me my whole life. And being able to serve customers, make them happy. Um, I hate dealing with angry customers, but I love it too because I feel like that's something that I can contribute. When folks don't understand something and they're really frustrated and they're not being unreasonable, they just want to understand it fully and they need a good answer. I like being part of that. It's
Yep.
good. So that's kind of a big part of why I came where I was is that I felt like there were big problems that could be solved in this area and that I could be part of people's houses burning down and accidents and all this kind of stuff. And I thought those are places I can really plug in and serve and make a difference. And
Yep.
my other things that I did before this, I love too. I don't think I've ever had anything I did that I wasn't really excited to do.
Well,
I
one
had
of yeah,
I had
and
good
one of the things I
spots.
wanted to ask you about, one of the cooler company names I've ever seen was Appliance Science. What was that?
Yeah, so I lived in Murrells Inlet, South Carolina, which is just south of Myrtle Beach, and we had an office in Pawleys Island, which is just south of Murrells Inlet. And Appliance Science was an appliance repair company, and our guys would come out to your house and fix your stuff. And it was a great crew. I miss the folks there still, good people. But one of the things that was interesting about it is it's a difficult industry, Mike. If you think about it, a lot of people don't repair appliances as much as they used to. They'll throw
Yep,
them out and buy a new one.
yep.
My grandmother a couple weeks ago had a 36-year-old washing machine that could be fixed for $300, and we could get it up and running, and it was in good shape aside from the repair. But we didn't put $350 into a 36-year-old washing machine. We threw it out. She got a new one. So, so that industry had some challenges. What we found was that when we focused on high end products, that folks were more interested in repairing those because they spent so much on the front end. So we serviced a lot of Viking, Wolf, Sub Zero, Bosch, anything that was high end.
So how are your repair skills at home?
Okay, so you don't want me to fix any of your appliances. That's a 0% chance of success. I was our marketing customer relationship guy in that role. At the house, I'm pretty good at repairs.
Okay.
I've learned to be a little more thrifty. I love to woodwork,
Ah,
so I can do a lot of things with wood. And I'm learning some repairs. I think being a startup, new business,
yeah.
we just crossed our 4th year, so hopefully we're coming out of being a startup into the
Yeah,
more mature phase. But during those first 4 years, there's a lot of sacrifices for me, for my family.
yep,
We've had to make sure that the agency gets fed, and so I fix a lot of things at home.
good.
Uh, some of which I have no business touching.
Now,
Other things I do well.
how many of those did you break that you ended up having to fix?
I think the biggest one I broke was we had a sewer pipe leak underneath
Ooh,
4-inch main line,
ooh,
and I thought I could cut this out and put in a little replacement piece and use some couplings. And I mean, it's not that bad. And
sure.
I got under there and literally crap happened.
Yep.
And then I handed it over to someone with
Yep.
far more skill sets than I have.
See, and that's a skill set right there, knowing when to outsource.
Yes. Yeah. My father saw me doing something one day that was way outside of my ability, way outside. And he comes up behind me, kind of leans over, and he's looking, and he goes, "Is your phone broken?" I said, "No, why?" He goes, "'Cause you need to call somebody. You can't do that."
Love those dadisms. Those are
Yeah,
so good. Yeah.
yeah. Is your phone broken?
And
Because
he
you
was
can't do
right,
that.
wasn't he?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I called
Right.
somebody a
Yeah.
few minutes later. That was the end of that.
All right. So you're a graduate of the University of South Carolina. We may or may not talk any more
Yeah.
about that after you guys kick the crap out of my Tennessee Volunteers, but that's another podcast. Exactly. Yeah, exactly. You majored in hospitality and tourism. What was
Mhm.
the original plan with that degree?
And that's a great question, Mike. You're good at this. Yeah, the original plan was I was leaving college and I wanted to run a giant seafood buffet, like the 150 item seafood buffets that have like 400 seats in them. I thought that'd be great. I thought, I'll go out, try and manage one of those. I'd worked in one during college and liked it. I thought I'll manage one of those and then I'll open my own sometime and I'll run a big seafood buffet place. Um, and then as I got into hospitality and tourism more, I started figuring out that those restaurant owners work a lot of nights, a lot of weekends, a
Oh,
lot
yeah.
of the time that I like to be with my family, they're working hard, and I had a real respect for that. So when I had a different opportunity, I took it.
So did your folks look back on that and realize, wow, look at all the time and money we all spent on that?
No, it was very versatile. I feel like the hospitality and tourism bleeds into every corner of what I'm doing, and I left there, didn't know what I wanted to do, and my dad, wise old owl said, if you don't know what you want to do, you ought to keep going to school until you figure it out. He said, you'll either figure it out or get tired of school. I don't know which will happen first. You'll land someplace. So I went and got an MBA at Augusta University. And that was a great decision too.
Did you generally enjoy the master's program overall?
I did enjoy the master's program. There are portions of it that are not my wheelhouse. I'm not driven for statistics and economics, but I like some of the marketing and management courses. So there
So
were some
yep,
challenges with it.
yep. Did you
Yeah.
learn to play golf while you were in Augusta?
No, I can get around playing golf. I can hit some long shots. I'm famous for like driving the green from 215 and then I six putt.
Okay,
That's kind of
right.
my jam.
But
Um,
in a scramble, though, you're much needed to get the ball on the green, let the putters take over, right?
yeah, yeah. Captain's choice is my jam. I can
Yep.
I can definitely contribute when we're in that kind of circumstance. I did get to go to a practice round of the Masters when I lived in Augusta, so
Yep.
that was probably my highlight of my time there. It was fantastic. Arnold Palmer's last year.
Wow.
Um, he was in a threesome for the par three day with Tiger Woods, and we got to see them picking on each other. And
Nice. Yep.
Arnie gave Tiger the business and back and forth. It was very memorable,
Yeah.
really memorable.
Very cool. So what? And I hope I pronounce your high school name right. Actually, I'll let you do that. What's the? How do you say your high school's name?
Sockasty High School.
All right. So what was the best thing about going to Sockasty High School?
It was a big high school, and I liked that about it. So I think we were. Uh, Somebody will have to forgive me if I get this wrong, but I think we were around 1,800 kids out there. And I didn't know if I liked the big or small experience. I'd never been in either one, but it went really well for me. Um, I got to play a lot of different sports. I got to be on different clubs. I had a finger in everything. There was very little I wasn't interested in. I was happy to jump from item to item the whole time. Um, I did not meet my wife there. I met my wife in college, so
We'll
that
get
didn't
to that.
happen.
Don't jump ahead of me. We'll get to that.
Okay.
We'll get to that. So,
Yeah, but the high school was fantastic,
yep.
and at the time they had some teachers there that were super memorable. I'm sure they have new teachers there that are super memorable now, but the ones that I had were really
Yep.
memorable and had great experiences.
Now, I'm hoping this show, because I always like to find distinguished alums from either high school
Hmm.
or colleges of the guest. And I didn't do any research into South Carolina, as you could probably expect. But I
Yeah.
did look for distinguished alums from your high school. And,
Really?
Wendy
Okay.
for the diehard sports fans, Wendy Nix at ESPN
Yep.
is one of
Yeah.
them, and the other one is Hunter Renfrow, the wide
Yeah.
receiver at
Forgot about
Clemson who
Hunter.
is playing for the
Mhm.
Raiders right now. He was hurt this year. My wife drafted him and then had to drop him
Mhm.
about week 3. So, I know you
Yeah.
weren't there when Hunter was there. Were you there when Wendy Nix was there?
Yeah, so Wendy's a few years older than me. She ended up being a Wofford grad of all things.
Okay.
Went to Wofford College in South Carolina, and Wendy comes from just a spectacular family. Like what you see of her on TV is uh, just as authentic as if you got to know all the folks in her family. Her younger brother was a year younger than me, Kenneth, and so we've gotten to know them some. I haven't talked to Wendy in years, but when I was younger, we knew each other some. And she's just as sweet a person as she appears on TV. She's wonderful.
Well, hope
Now
yeah,
Hunter's dad
yeah.
was the athletic director at Soxty High School,
Okay.
and I knew him pretty well for a period of time. We served on some board of directors together, and really enjoyed each other. But yeah, Hunter was younger than me. He had an older brother, Ayers. Ayers was a Chick-fil-A operator in town, so I mean, we got to know each other pretty well because
Nice.
I like fried chicken, so
Oh,
that
yeah.
worked out.
Well,
Yeah, but
yep.
two fine families. Yeah,
And hopefully this interview, once it, enough people see it, will elevate you into that notable
yeah.
alums of your high school. So that's the goal in
I hope
this.
so.
Hopefully, yeah.
Yeah,
So, all right. So let's get to your wife, Kim. One of my favorite questions to ask a
sure.
married guest on the show is, how did you and Kim meet? And do you both tell the story the same way?
No, we don't tell the story the same way. We so all right. So my old man's a minister, and he was doing a wedding, and Kim was one of the bridesmaids. And while she was a bridesmaid, she was seated at a table at the rehearsal dinner with my mom and dad. And my mom and dad tried to set me up with her roommate. And so they were showing her pictures and, oh, you should meet our son and everything. And the roommate says, yeah, sure. I'll meet him. That sounds good. So I went and met Kim's roommate, and nothing very serious there at all. It was, not anything significant. But through that, I got to know Kim, and so there we went. So I started dating Kim instead, and we were down at a. I had met her before, but we were down at a Live After Five event in Columbia. My wife Kim is a pretty blonde headed girl, and she's standing over to the side with another young lady that looked like her that I also knew. And so I looked at the two of them, and my buddy was with me, and I said, tell you what, I said, I like that. I said, if I could get me one of those, I'd be done. I'll be committed. I'll stay. That's all I need, man. That's a beautiful young lady, and I knew she was smart because I knew where she was enrolled at school and everything. So it wasn't just physical. I knew some other things about her, and so I, you know, approached her, and and she ended up being it. So that was a good one. I
Uh,
was I was
s-
correct.
so where was the first date?
This is not a good story. Um,
That's why I'm asking. Those are the answers I want.
so the first date, I had a friend who was from Kutztown, Pennsylvania,
Yep.
and his buddies were in a band, and I actually really liked the band, but they were wild dudes. And they came down to Columbia, South Carolina to play a gig. And I said, you guys ought to stay with me at my house. I'll host you. You don't have to pay for a hotel. I'll take care of you guys. And so they did. And that was our first date. Kim came with me they played at a place called the Fubar Club. And we won't get into that acronym. But we went there, and it was a train wreck. It was a dump of a place, and people were high and acting out. And it was terrible. But she stayed very close to me,
Yeah.
which I liked because she was not into everybody else that was there. She wanted to hang out with me. So that was really
Yep.
the best benefit was that I scared the crap out of her, and she didn't want to go anywhere. And she told me later that after these guys, there were 6 or 7 of them, and they all came back to the house, and I took care of getting them pillows and blankets and stuff so that they could all go to bed. Later, after we got married, she admitted that she thought I'd make a good dad because of the way I took care of those 6
Oh.
drunk band members. So I made a good impression.
All right. Is the band still together, and what is or was the band's name?
I don't think they are, but they were called the Jazz Jude, and they're still on Apple or iTunes or whatever. And I still enjoy their stuff. They were kind of kind of a hard rock college band, sort of. You know, lots of guitars and drums and loud singing, and that's still that's still my groove. I'm good. So I still look them up from time to time and listen a little bit to the jazz tune.
What was the next concert you took her to, and did she enjoy that one a little bit more probably?
Yeah, I think we took some big steps up after that. The next couple, Sister Hazel played at USC, so
Yeah.
we went to that. Believe somewhere along the line we saw Blues Traveler, who's kind of a personal favorite of mine. Parliament Funkadelic, P Funk
Ooh,
came to
good.
Columbia. We caught some of that. So yeah, these days she's a lot more selective about concerts. Back then she didn't know much about music, so she'd go to anything I took her to. Now she's learned that that's not a safe path.
And as a South Carolina graduate, do you have to be in the Hootie and the Blowfish fan club?
Yeah, so we're when I was young, they used to come to Myrtle Beach where I was
Mhm.
growing up. They play in Myrtle Beach, and they're South Carolina graduates, and they're coming to Raleigh in 3 or 4 weeks, and
Oh,
we've got our
really?
tickets.
Okay,
So we're gonna go see Hootie and the Blowfish, and that'll be nice. It'll be a 3 hour sing along. I think we know everything they've
yeah.
played. Yeah,
So they are getting back to touring?
I don't know. So Darius Rucker is obviously out there on his own doing his own thing, but then he does sneak in some dates with Hootie and the Blowfish. It seems like
Yeah.
every year or two they've got some dates out there.
Okay,
So they were going to be close enough that we want to check it out. So we're going to
cool.
definitely go.
I know it'll be
Yeah,
a good show. So do you
I think so.
envision grooming one of your 2 kids to take over your insurance, office one day?
Well, my 15-year-old girl would tell you that there's just nothing worse than that proposition. That would be the last thing she would want to do. Um, but she is really good at being direct and honest with people and
Mhm.
telling them the truth when they need to hear it. So I could see her having the skill set, to be
Yep.
honest. I think there are a lot of roles that she could be in that would be good. My 6 year old, it's hard to tell what he's going to
Yep.
do. If you asked him today, I think his top votes are like astronaut, race car driver, stuff like
Yep.
that. But
All the fun stuff. Yep.
yeah, we're going to embrace that while we can. I mean, somebody has to be a race car driver, right? Maybe it can
Oh,
be him.
yeah.
Maybe
Why
he
hey,
race car drives.
why
I don't
not?
know.
Yeah. Yep.
I'd love to go see him race car drive. That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
So I'd love to see him be an astronaut. I'll go
Now
check that launch out too.
oh, yeah, man.
Yeah.
Does your daughter get her boldness from you and or Kim?
Yeah, I think she does. I think she draws some confidence from the idea that she knows that I won't throw her under the bus if she messes up. Right.
Mhm.
And so that gives her the opportunity to go out and bang around with a little more authority than she otherwise would because she's got nothing to lose, you know? Um, so I think that's good. And I think just from me, I don't know if this says more about me or more about her, but either way, I think she's just learned that it's okay to say no.
Mhm.
It's okay to ask more questions, to dig deeper. And I think most importantly, one of the skill sets that she and I both enjoy is uh, we don't feel like we have to have an answer. Like if you approach me about something and it's a difficult topic and there's emotion involved in it, I'm trying to find a solution. I might say to you, Mike, I need some time on this. I need to step away and really give this consideration. I think the part where we ponder and we're pensive and we're alone, it's where a lot of our solutions come from individually, and good decisions are made that way. So I think she and I are both learned in that. My 6 year old, not so much. Immediate answers for anything.
There you go. Yep. Is there any chance either one of your kids and or some of your money would be allowed to go to Clemson?
So my wife and my kids know this answer, and you could ask any of the four of us and get the exact same answer because they know that my kids are welcome to go to Clemson,
Mhm.
and there are student loans for all of that. I won't be sending my checks over there, but if they want to take out a loan and go, that's up to them. I'll be happy to pay for anywhere else.
Yeah,
So
I had that with, as a Tennessee grad, I was and my folks went to Florida State, so I'm
okay,
61, and for all the years I've been alive and able to hear, I'm supposed to hate Florida, I've hated the Gators, so and I have no problem telling people that, and everybody knows that. And so our boys graduated high school, we lived in Daytona Beach, and a lot of, my oldest son's friends were going to Florida because my oldest son was in the International Baccalaureate program in high school, and that was a good feeder program to Gainesville, which I'm never going to admit it. I'm gonna edit this out as soon as I say it is actually a pretty good school. And I told him, I'm like, "Dude, yeah, same thing. You're on your own. I'm not sending a penny your way. I'm not wearing your school shirt. I'm not wearing your school colors. I'm not cheering for your school, but you are welcome to go there on somebody else's dime." So I'm with you on that.
Yeah, similar. And, and I'm sure there are circumstances that could change my tune, I guess, but
Eh,
I can't imagine what they would be. I did hear Tommy Bowden, Clemson's old football coach, spoke at an FCA event one time in Myrtle Beach, and I was invited to go. And I went because it was an FCA event. I wanted to support their cause, but I didn't much care about hearing Tommy Bowden. And I met him ahead of time and got to shake hands with him and everything. I said, Tommy, it's been a lot of years. I've tried really hard to like you. And he says, well, I hope we could change your mind today. And so it was playful. He was a good sport. But he got up and spoke. And to be truthful, if I'm being honest, by the time he got down, I was really impressed,
yeah.
and he had endearing things to say, and I was definitely moved by some of the comments. So I feel like he's a good guy, and he told a funny joke. I'll share it with you because it's short. But his wife was fussing at him because they were arguing over what TV shows they were going to watch, and he said, "Baby, why do you want to watch cooking shows when you don't cook and you're not good at cooking?"
Ooh.
And she said, "Sweetheart, you watch football, don't you?"
I
I thought that was
like that.
pretty good. He was a good sport.
I
Yeah.
like that one a lot.
So
In my other research I did on you, I found out that, and I got tired of clicking on the see more button on your certifications. Do you enjoy test taking?
yeah, I enjoy certifications and stuff. I do. I like that stuff. I like being able to say that I've accomplished something, that I have expertise in an area, that I'm qualified to answer questions. I do kind of like that. I don't know if that's an egotistical thing or if
Mm.
that's just an expertise and confidence thing. I don't know how that happens. I suppose for any individual person, it could be either one, right? Depending on how you approached it. But hopefully that's just something that helps me to do a good job serving customers and stuff like that. And I know that sounds silly to say serve customers.
Mm.
Everybody's like, oh, everybody says that terminology. I, I really like that stuff. We had a guy walk in a couple of weeks ago. He's in a 5-car accident and uh, was brushing the glass off his shoulders from the car wreck in our lobby as he was explaining to us what happened.
Oh,
And we were helping him through those initial moments, that first hour after his wreck and everything. And the guy left, and my team kind of looked at me and said, "Whoa, whoa, that guy has been through some stuff." And I said, "Guys, this is absolutely what we signed up to be here for. Like, this is one of our best moments as an agency. Forget a big sailor making some money. Like, this is what we came for, guys. We want to be with these people." And it was a good moment.
are there more certifications yet to come to add to all the letters that after your last name?
Yeah, I'm taking my CHFC, which is a chartered financial consultant certification. State Farm is migrating and moving into an area where they're starting to offer more financial advice, retirement accounts, uh, college savings accounts, things of that nature. And so that's something that the company would like us all to be versed in. And if it's important to them, it's important to me. So I'm going through that course now, and it's a bear. It's a little more than what I thought I was signing up for, from being honest. But I really do enjoy the content. It's great content, and it's usable in every area of your life. Most of the conversations you have with other people.
Yeah.
So I think it's gonna be a winner.
Well, good. Need a good tip for everybody. It's the first of the year. What's something insurance wise they should look at, ask a question of, or anything like that, just to kind of help understand what they have or what they need?
think there's I think there's two big pieces right now, both of them on the property and casualty side, not the life insurance side necessarily. But number one, it is a good year to look at what the value of your home is and whether or not your insurance is covering the full value of your home. Uh, Market values have changed, so have material values. A lot of folks think that the replacement cost on their home needs to be their market value. That's actually incorrect. We want to be able to replace the structure. If the whole thing burned down, we want to know what it costs to build it back.
Yep.
So a lot of folks look at their annual statement and they go, "Yeah, it looks about like what my home's worth. We're in good shape. Check." but it's not a checkbox. We want to go back through that and really understand what's inside your house. Do you have hardwood floors? Do you have granite countertops? Because if the place burns, you want that stuff back. So we want to make sure that's covered. And then I think the other place is we've had a lot of people that don't always want full coverage on vehicles, right? They're like, it's an older car. I got it paid off. I really don't care about the full coverage. I could save some money. That's okay. That's a decision that a customer can make. There's nothing wrong with that. But with used car values being so high, we'd kind of like to at least visit that and make sure that's the decision you want to make this year. Maybe in the past that was a decision you made, but this might be a year where you feel differently. We've had especially some old pickup trucks that people say, it's just an old truck. Those old trucks are $8,000-9,000. I kind of pose it to people. Are you comfortable having a $9,000 deductible on that truck? Well, no. Well, if you don't insure it, then that's the deductible because
Yeah.
you'll just lose the whole thing. And I also ask the question pretty often because I think it grounds people. I say, listen, Mike, in your family, can you guys afford to lose $9,000? Does that work? And there are some families that maybe it does work for, but the
Yep.
majority say, no, my family can't lose $9,000. That's more than we can afford to give up.
Yep.
And our answer to that is, okay, well, then you probably need to pay the extra $20 a month or whatever it might cost
Yep.
and insure this vehicle for full coverage then, you
Yep.
know?
I like it.
So pretty simple litmus test.
I like it. All right, folks, we've been putting Tommy's phone number up on the screen during the show. Even if you just have a question to ask to get started or find out what you have, give them a call. They'll help you. I know that. If you turn out to be a client, that's great. But I know Tommy and his team will just help you answer questions just to educate people because they enjoy doing that. Tommy, been a blast. Have a safe trip home from the mountains and make sure you throw one more snowball at somebody before you get in the car so they can't throw one back at you.
Thank you, Mike. I really appreciate you hosting this and putting this on. It's a great place to come and talk a little bit. And I mean, everybody feels encouraged when folks are interested about them. I hope I'm interesting enough for your listeners to enjoy. And if not, then tell them to come by the office. I'll buy them a beer.
There you go.
But
You did fine.
but otherwise, I love being on this with you guys. I love the enthusiasm that you guys bring to this show, and look forward to doing anything I can to support you guys in the future with it.
We appreciate it very much, and we will see everybody next time on Triangle BNI.
You are tuned to the Nissan Communications Network. If you tuned in too late, you can always watch each program in its entirety or download an MP3 audio file of it in the archives section at nissancommunications.com. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Twitter, and like us on Facebook. Sponsored by StreamingGear.com, Carolina Apparel, and DeltaForce.net.